GitHub, you know it, most of us love it. This is a platform that today's modern developers really need to know, and Microsoft has now announced that it is generating $1 billion annually. This got me wondering, where does the money come from? I'm not paying GitHub for anything, and I had never looked into what the enterprise market was paying for this service, so let's break down where that $1 billion is likely coming from. So of course we have GitHub services, things for teams and enterprise, allows you to have additional security and enhanced functionality in private repos. The enterprise tier will also allow for LDAP and single sign-on support for Active Directory, management of users, and the like through a corporate network infrastructure. We also have GitHub products here with GitHub Premium services and also the Cloud Enterprise tier. You get GitHub service level agreements, which will give you guaranteed uptime, or at least the promise of guaranteed uptime. There's a lot of moving parts with the internet, like just the other day we had a Cloudflare outage which caused a bunch of services to be offline. Why pay? I think the big thing is that people are already familiar with GitHub's interface and how you'd interact with it. Of course, the Git standard for source control is not owned by GitHub. You can use different platforms like Bitbucket or GitLab, or host your own. I think that there's some other, I know for sure GitLab has an open source server that you can run yourself with limited functionality compared to the main website, which does offer premium tiers as well. The big thing is onboarding time, of course, a 40% reduction in developer onboarding time with 639% return on investment over 3 years, with an approximated 45 minutes saved per developer per day. This is straight from GitHub's enterprise sales page. Of course, lots of big companies are using it. And there's also GitHub Education, which is mainly, I think, used in universities. My university program, we never did any of this GitHub Classroom stuff, but they show a cute little example here of, you can submit your assignments through GitHub or something. I have never used any of this, but it makes sense why you would want to get people familiar with the platform. The pricing on this one looked a little bit different, and these are different tools than the GitHub Enterprise, but definitely another source of income for the platform. GitHub Actions in general, I think that these are bundled mostly with an enterprise account, but you can pay for these individually. More or less just comes down to when you submit code, a virtual machine will spin up and validate that it passes the tests, or when you merge something, it'll generate new builds. A good example of that is VS Code. Their releases on their page, so this is an open source, de-Microsoftified VS Code. Look at how many releases they do. They do an ARM64 RPM. They're also releasing as debs and zips. But anyways, look at all of these. There's like 130 of them or something. Different releases of the same piece of software. They're not having somebody go into Visual Studio and target each one of these as a platform. They just have GitHub Actions set up to automatically deploy these assets to a release. GitHub Actions are not unique to GitHub. GitLab also has them. I think that they're called pipelines. Then I learned about this GitHub marketplace where people are selling. You might have seen Dependbot or something that goes on to repositories and says like, hey, here's the version bump of the latest NPM package. Here's a pull request to upgrade the dependencies of your package.json. So they're making, I don't know, $3 off of this a month. There were a couple examples. These ones were linters after the fact, so you could, after you submit a pull request, it would tell you, hey, you're using a double space here, or you're using the wrong type of quotations. So paid linters in the marketplace, I don't think that this is a big part of their income. And then GitHub sponsors, which is still, I believe, in beta, which is a way that you can directly support a project. You just link your Stripe account or PayPal account or something and donate $5 or $10 a month, set your set your budget to open source software, you can add a little sponsor button to your profile and have people possibly contribute to that. I think that this is mainly aimed at largely used packages that have maintainers who it's kind of like their full-time job. Just make it easier for large companies like Facebook or Microsoft or Apple or whoever is using these to directly support the developers that are taking care of bug fixes and continuous development of libraries that they might be using. Just toss some money there. So yeah, GitHub increasing in valuation. I thought that it might be interesting to have a breakdown of where the money is actually coming from. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.